right, it's day 11 of our online math learning series. That's what I'm gonna start calling it. I'm gonna continue to call it that because it makes it sound fancy. All right, so today I have 5 different subtraction problems for you. 2 of them are word problems and most of them are subtracting across zeros. So that means that you're gonna have to borrow a bunch. Okay, so same thing as we've been doing. Pause the screen whenever you see the problem, solve it, then restart the screen so that we can continue on and you can see if you got it correct or not. For the first 2, they're both on the same page, so you can solve both of them, then restart the screen and see if you got them right. All right, so let's get started. So here are your first 2 problems. Let's go ahead and pause your screen and solve. All right, so we're gonna start with the purple one first. So it's 4,000 minus 1,374. So this is, I'm subtracting across zeros because I know the bottom is bigger on all of these. So I have to go all the way over to my thousands place and borrow from there. So I'm gonna take 10 away, so that means I'm taking 10 away and I'm gonna get 3. And those 10 are gonna move to this column. So this becomes a 10. Then I still can't subtract here, so I have to borrow from this hundreds place, and that becomes a 9, which gives the 10 to this column. Now I gotta move over one more because I need to get that ones place done. So this becomes a 9, and that 10 that I took from there goes into my ones place. So now I can subtract because the bottom is no longer bigger on any of them. So 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 7 is 2. 9 minus 3 is 6. And 3 minus 1 is 2. So you should have gotten 2,626. All right, so we're going to solve the next one, which you should have already solved it. If you haven't solved the second one yet, pause your screen when I put it up there and then solve it. Okay, so if you haven't solved that one yet, go ahead and do that. But for this one, I'm gonna do the same thing. I have to borrow all the way over to the thousands place. So my 7 becomes a 6. This 0 becomes a 10. Then I need to borrow for this one, so this one becomes a 9. This one becomes a 10. Regroup one last time. This becomes a 9. This becomes a 10. So double check that's what you have. And then we're going to subtract. 10 minus 3 is 7. 9 minus 1 is 8. 9 minus 6 is 3. 6 minus 5 is 1. So you should have gotten 1,387. All right, the next one. A little bit more, a little longer. 625,132 minus 412,631. So pause your screen and solve. All right, so I'm gonna start in my ones place. So I'm gonna take 2 minus 1, which is 1. 3 minus 3, which is 0. Then this one, the bottom is bigger, so I need to borrow. You see that? The 6 is bigger than the 1. So I go over to my thousands place. The 5 becomes a 4. The 1 becomes an 11. The 2 I can subtract, and that 6 minus 4 I can subtract. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. So 11 minus 6 is 5. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 6 minus 4 is 2. So you should have gotten 212,501. All right, and there are your standard algorithms. So now we have 2 word problems. All right. So here's your first one. Siler and Kale were so excited. A carnival has come to town. Siler went to the ring toss game first. The people who ran the ring toss game said they had 1,000 prizes to give away. but customers had already won 3,007 prizes, or sorry, 307 prizes. How many prizes are left? So you draw a statement, or write a statement, draw a tape diagram, and solve. So go ahead and pause your screen and solve. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find the question, and I know the question is how many prizes are left. So I'm gonna underline that, and that's going to be my statement. I'm gonna say blank prizes are left. Blank prizes are left. Now I'm gonna draw a tape diagram. So same thing like we've been doing with our tape diagrams. 2 boxes in the total. So for this one, we know the total. We know how many total prizes they started with. So that's gonna go down here. The 1,000 is gonna go down there. Then the 2 boxes are how many have been won and how many haven't been won. So 1 and not 1. So we know that there were 307 already won. So that's gonna go in the 1 box. And then we don't know how many have not been won yet, or how many are left. So that's what we're trying to find. So that's where I'm gonna put my X. So then now if you remember, part, whole, I subtract. So I'm gonna subtract the part from the whole. 1,000 minus 307. So I'm gonna write that down. So if you haven't done that, if you did not do that, pause your screen and solve. All right, so we're gonna solve it together now. So same thing, subtracting across 0. So I have to go all the way over to my thousands place, make that a 0. The hundreds place becomes a 10. And then I need to borrow for the tens place, so the 10 becomes a 9. This becomes a 10. And same thing again, I need to get something for that ones place. So my 0 becomes a 10, my other's 10 becomes a 9, and now I can subtract. So 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 0 is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. 693. So that's the answer that would go here, the not 1, or what's left. So that's what's gonna go on this line. It's 693 prizes are left. All right. Next one. Last one. All right, here's your word problem. While Siler was at the ring toss game, Kale went to the hot dog stand. The hot dog stand at the carnival had 2,000 hot dogs. They sold 1,259 of them. How many hot dogs do they have left? It's a pretty similar problem, but now we're at the hot dog stand. All right, so now we're gonna solve. So the first thing we need to do is write a statement. So the question is, how many hot dogs do they have left? So that's going to be my statement. I'm gonna turn that around. I'm gonna say, they have blank hot dogs left. So the tape diagram, same thing from before. We're gonna draw our 2 boxes and the total. So we know how many total hot dogs they started with, which was 2,000. Same thing before, we have some sort left, so that's one of the parts. So it's gonna be the X. And then the other one is how many they've sold already. And they've sold 1,259. So again, I have part, whole, so I'm going to subtract. So I have 2,000 minus 1,259. So if you didn't subtract when you solved, go ahead and pause your screen and do that now. All right, so now we're gonna solve it together. And the same thing, subtracting across 0, so I need to go all the way over to my thousands place, make that a 1. Then I'm going to make this 0 a 10. Kind of looks like a 9, but it's going to become a 9 anyway. So this one's going to become a 10 now. This one's going to become a 9. And one more spot in the ones place comes a 9 and then a 10. So now I'm going to subtract. So 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 5 is 4. 9 minus 2 is 7. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So how many hot dogs do they have left? They have 741. All right, if you got all of those correct, I want you to comment on today's Google Classroom post, on the morning message post. Say, I got all 5 subtraction problems correct. All right, guys, have a great day.